Why so many people stay stuck, stay addicted, stay at terrible jobs, stay in abusive relationships, and what you can do about it to unlock progression in your life. I don't care if you're a Christian. I don't care if you're not a Christian. This is going to be one of the most practical videos I've ever put together. And it's so interesting because I see this stuff everywhere, and I think it could be so damaging, but it's so obvious if you really consider it, okay? And the hope here is if you are in a really bad place, if you're in a really, 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 really dark place, you might be at an advantage. Okay, so you make sure you watch to the end of this video. Give me 1 second. This is called Why We Get Stuck in Not So Bad Situation. The Region Beta Paradox. Listen up.
Yourself stuck in an unfulfilling job or a relationship that you wanted to leave but for some reason didn't. Perhaps you found yourself thinking it's not that bad or could be worse. Why is it that we only act to improve things once they reach a particular threshold of badness? Psychologist Daniel Gilbert coined the term Region Beta Paradox to explain why we're sometimes better off when we're worse off. Take the example of a commuter who decides to walk to places if they're within a mile of her location and to cycle to more distant places. Since cycling is faster, the commuter will reach some distant locations earlier than she could have walked to closer locations. In effect, she's better off in the worst situation of having to travel further. Just as commuters take steps to speed their journeys when their destinations are further away, injured people are more likely to take steps to speed their recoveries when their injuries are more severe.
So did you guys catch that? If you have a mile walk somewhere versus a 2-mile walk, you're more likely to use a car to go 2 miles than you are to go 1 mile, meaning that you will get to the destination that's 2 miles ahead faster than you will the destination 1 mile ahead because you'll be more efficient and use the tool at your disposal to get there faster. So this is true with injury recovery. Now this is the part that's really dark, okay? And this is a lot of us right now that you guys are dealing with. Check this out.
Change things. Consider the story of the frog in a pot. If you put the frog into already boiling water, it'll immediately jump out. But if you gradually warm the water, the frog will slowly boil to death. Ironically, this myth may be more true of humans than frogs. If you're dissatisfied with your job but not experiencing intense distress, you may be less motivated to make changes to your work situation or to look for a new job. But like the frog, if your job isn't right for you, it can slowly impact your mental and physical health without you realizing. As Mark Howell Winston said, we are prone to accept death by 1,000 little cuts.
And now let me juxtapose this with something that Chris Williamson said. He echoed this on the Joe Rogan podcast. Check this out. He literally points out the same exact complacency paradox. Okay, this is called the Region Beta Paradox. Listen up.
This chasm of comfortable complacency that a lot of people are caught in at the moment. So I learned about this idea called the Region Beta Paradox, right? So the Region Beta Paradox, imagine that if you were to go a mile or less, you would walk it. And if you were to go more than a mile, you would drive it. Paradoxically, you would go 2 miles quicker than you would go 1 mile. So that means that sometimes worse situations can be better than better situations.
Sometimes worse situations can be better than better situations. My English teacher in high school, his name was Tamburino, he always used to tell me, people only change if they're hurt or scared. People only change if they're hurt or scared. A lot of you are in a comfortable complacency because you're like, a little bit of Jesus is better than no Jesus. I got a little bit of porn, but you know, I mean, I hate my job, but it's not that much. I'm in this relationship that's kind of toxic, but like, I don't know if I could find anybody better. And it's this complacency that keeps us stuck. And if you're in a worse situation, if you're on the verge of being homeless, if you're in a my life is going to fall apart if I don't stop looking at corn. I'm going to lose my marriage. I'm not 10 pounds, 15 pounds overweight. I'm 70 pounds overweight. And the doctor tells me if I don't change this aspect about myself, I am going to cut decades off my life. Hey, did you know that you can watch videos like this on the Spotify app? We now are on Spotify under Ruslan Bless God Podcast. So if you're driving and you want to go back and forth between listening to the podcast and just the audio or watching the video, consider doing it now on the Spotify app, as well as all podcast platforms. All right, I'll see you over there.
And this is an issue when if you only decide to act after you cross a certain threshold of badness or whatever, you can end up being stuck in Region Beta. So for instance, the friend that should leave his job, really needs to leave his job, but it's just about passable, his boss isn't that much of a dick, maybe the benefits are okay or whatever. Or the person that stays in an apartment that's got some mold on the ceiling, but it's not too much mold and whatever. All of these people would be better off if their situations were worse, because it would galvanize them into actually doing something. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I
You
do.
can get stuck in this chasm of comfortable complacency that sits somewhere in the middle. If things are good, great, no problem. If things are bad, great, activation energy to go and make them good. If things are just about passable, you end up being comfortably numb.
That gave me goosebumps. Holy moly. A lot of us are comfortably numb. A lot of you are comfortably numb, and you don't get the breakthrough because it's not bad enough yet. It's not bad enough yet. And if you think about whatever mountain you feel like you're facing right now, whatever that mountain, I want to stop looking at corn. I want to fix my marriage. I got to fix my career. I got to figure out a way to earn more money. If you think about it, I need to lose weight. I need to get in better shape. If you think about it, and the life of someone you loved depended on you making that change. Think of that. Think of that person. Think of that. Maybe it's your kid. Maybe it's a brother or sister. Maybe it's your mom. And the life of that person depended on you and me figuring out how to make that change, which oftentimes that change is connected to your purpose in this season. And if you make that change, it can trickle a bunch of other little changes. If you can figure out, if that person's life depended on you making that change, I bet you could figure it out. If your marriage or your health or the life of your loved one depended on you figuring out how to stop looking at corn, or figuring out how to stop, how to earn more money, how to make a pivot in your career, you would figure it out. It's just not bad enough yet. And here's the deal. Your life probably depends on you making that change you need to make. Your life probably depends on that change you need to make, whether it's losing weight, figuring out more useful skills so you can pivot, whether it's stop looking at corn so it doesn't shipwreck your marriage or cause you to do something worse, shipwreck your life, go to jail potentially. Like, you can choose to sin. You can't choose the consequence, guys. You could choose to sin. You can't choose. And this is why I think the gospel is powerful, because the gospel, in comparison to God's standards, holy moly, you're way worse than you think you are. Jesus said, you who are evil know how to give good gifts. You who are evil know how to do some good things. Romans says we're at enmity with God. When Ephesians 2 says that we are children of wrath. When you look at the gospel, it actually goes, it's worse than you think it is. And that's why Jesus had to come on the cross. But it's better than it could ever be in any other system, because God gives you a new heart and new desires. You want me to prove it to you? Watch this. Dear friends, you always followed my instructions when I was with you, and now that I am away, it is even more important. Work hard to show the results of your salvation, obeying God with deep reverence and fear. Now this is the unlock. It's better than you think it is. Why? Because it is God working in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here. God is working in you. The Holy Spirit lives in you, giving you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. I think, this is a crazy thought, but I think Christians, followers of Jesus, are at an advantage, because while the world is numb, while the world is doing their own thing, chasing their own tail, we have the scriptures and we have this mirror. We have this mirror. Oh, you think you're a good person? Use this as a mirror. Oh, you're actually way worse than you thought you were. But that's okay, because God's working in you. God's working in you and giving you the desire to change, to pursue your purpose. I don't mean purpose as in, my purpose is to be a Christian YouTuber. That's not my purpose. My purpose is to know God and make him known in every facet. Being a Christian YouTuber is an assignment for this season. It may not be an assignment for the next season. Your vocation is not your purpose. What you do for money is not your purpose. What you do to feed your family is not your purpose. That's an assignment potentially for a season. Your purpose is to know God, to truly know God, and to make him known. That's your purpose. That's the Christian's purpose. Go make disciples, right? Instructing them to obey everything God has said, everything Jesus taught them. And so if you're going through it right now and it's dark, like it's bad, like the way it was dark for me, it was bad for me, right? Some of y'all come with, it's just too cushy. So you don't care about changing your financial trajectory. You don't care about legacy and generational wealth. You don't care about these things. Cool, man. That ain't my testimony. I come from actual poverty in a communist nation. I'm talking about food rations lining up. I'm not talking about food trucks. I'm talking about food rations. I'm talking about water rations, a bathtub of water that we'd have to share. I really come from that, to come to America, have my dad leave, and then have to be in poverty in America, which, by the way, substantially better than poverty and communism in Russia, let me tell you. So I can't be mediocre. I can't be the guy that has one talent and buries it. I can't do that. That's not how my faith is set up. That's not how my life is set up. I can't. And when it gets bad enough, when the power of staying the same is greater than the power of change, that's when you'll change. That's when you'll change. And if you're hearing this and you're like, it's not bad enough yet, catch this bone, man. Start doing hard things before your life falls apart. Start intentionally doing hard things. Jesus said the road to destruction is wide. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. If you handle your money the way the world handles their money, handle your fitness, your relationship, your faith the way the world handles it, like some sort of goofy accessory, take it up, put it down when it's convenient. If you do that, your life is going to be difficult. That's the road to destruction. If you do what is hard, if you pick up your cross and follow Jesus, if you lay down your life, if you deny yourself, if you delay gratification, if you live your life God's ways, down the road, things will get easier. Down the road, and if they don't, you'll have the ability to have contentment. You'll have the ability to know that God is the one that you go to for your sustenance, not the world, not your job. But generally speaking, if you live your life God's ways, you will be in God's will. And if you get in God's will, that's that sweet spot, man. That's that sweet spot. And how do you get into God's will? Well, you got to know God's ways. How do you know God's ways? You got to get into God's word. So anyway, hopefully this is encouraging to you guys, man. Let me know what you think about it. This is why many of us are stuck. This is why many of us are stuck. It's just not bad enough yet. I don't want it to get that bad for you. I really don't. Learn from my mistakes. Please avoid see my scars, and don't be the guy that's married having to confess to your wife that you're still gonna. Please don't be like me. Be better. Hey, this is a segment from our daily after party stream. Consider partnering with us online for as little as $5 a month to get access to these daily after party streams completely unedited. You'll also get access to our podcast as they are streamed live into the community before anyone else gets to see them, get to interact with our guests, get access to our private Discord server, and a discount code for our store for as little as $5 a month. Ultimately, that will help towards helping us continue contextualizing the gospel using media and podcast here on YouTube. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.